Welcome back to the Planet Crafter, my friends. This is the Green Hand, beautiful night sky here on Planet Prime, the base planet in this game, and we're continuing our full playthrough of this wonderful and underrated game. It's raining, the lake is rising on us over here. Take a look at that. Absolutely beautiful. And remember, in our last episode, we got our rover oxygenated. So let me hop in here. You can hear that oxygen just hitting. We've got it sped up and we've got some nice lights on it. So we're gonna do a little bit of exploring with the goal of getting a lot of the more rare materials back to the base so we don't have to worry about it too much. We also need to do quite a bit of improvement on some of our kind of base multipliers, because if we look over here, we can see that we're pretty far away from our gas extractor. We need to multiply our pressure by 10 times. We need to multiply our heat by about 30–40%, and we need to multiply our oxygen by 10 times to get to the next phase here. And we're also moving quite slowly, very, very slowly, in fact, to the next phase, which is going to be lakes. And you can tell we're getting there because, of course, it's raining, and I have to say, it's looking pretty beautiful out. So the very first thing we're gonna do is just go on a bit of an exploration mission to see if we can hunt down some extra stuff. Now, the one thing I did do is I did increase my inventory back here. So I've got a pretty hefty inventory set. I'll just fully clear out my inventory over here. And let's go on an excursion. There's a couple things I definitely want to show you. So if you remember, we're heading on over here to the Iridium Cave, but there's another secret cave that's beyond it that I do want to give you a sneak peek at. So if you come around, just hug this right side of the caves, coming along this cliffside here, and you just kind of jet around. You'll see a couple columns right over here on that left side, and this is where we want to go for yet another little special treat when you're looking for super alloy, which you honestly in this game you can never have enough of. So we're gonna pop in here. I call it Super Alloy Cave. You're gonna see little bits on the ground here. We're gonna collect that, and we're going to clear out what we can clear out here. So we'll take any sort of seeds, anything rare. Remember, we've got all that inventory space in our rover as well, so we're not too stressed about collecting some stuff that might be like a little bit lower value. So here we're beginning to see a little bit of the story elements of this game. This clearly is a structure made by some kind of living entity, but we're not sure quite what that is yet. And we are going to find out a little bit later. But right now, we're just scooping up all the super alloy that we can. Grab a blueprint, grab some more seeds, grab some more alloy, and we can probably head out now. Okay, next thing we're gonna do. Remember, we have been to this very large shipwreck over here. We may wanna go back in, but for now, we're gonna go past it because we have unlimited oxygen now, and we're going to go through these sort of archways made of stone, and we're gonna head on down into these and just grab some, oh, look at that. And just kind of scavenge around, see if we can find anything interesting. It's kind of one of the fun parts of the game. Once you unlock the ability to travel like this, of course, it gets a lot more fun to do that traveling and to see if you can find anything cool. So you can see we still have some heat generation needed because we've got some icy sections that we're still dealing with. But for now, we feel pretty good about this. Yes, we are gonna go down, get crazy, get on down into this valley here. Aha, I see something glowing in the distance. This is what I was looking for. So this is not really mandatory to get at this stage of the game, but as you explore, like I've said many times, it's good to just collect what you think you might need. And a bunch of glowing pink crystals, pretty sure I'm gonna need these at some point in the time. So let's go ahead and get them, and we'll go back and we'll start creating some more storage facilities at our main base. Look at this, we've got some blue crystals as well, some magnetar quartz. I'm just cleaning it up because I don't wanna have to get it later. All right, let's head on back home. Look at that air. Feeling good, feeling bad now. Feeling better. We'll steal all that iron so we can build out our storage facility a little bit more aggressively. Okay, this is gonna be uranium rods. This is going to be iridium rods. Oh, that's awesome. Our blueprint gave us a tier 2 equipment increase. Let's see what we need to go create that. Maybe we can scavenge some of that right about now. So tier 2 increase. We're gonna need obsidian. We do not have obsidian whatsoever, so we're gonna wait on that. Plus, honestly, we don't really need it that bad right now, so that is totally fine. Let's see how we're doing on energy. We're pretty damn good on energy right now, so I'm gonna build a couple more ore extractors. I'm just not getting enough iron. I want more iron. I need to build my base out a lot quicker than I am right now. So I'm gonna spam down a couple of these ore extractors. We're gonna see if we can get 2 down. We'll just kind of put them right next to one another. The grass spreader was messing us up there, the flower spreader. All right, let's get this down. Okay, this is very handy because now we've got 3 sort of base ore extractors down that are gonna help us really fill up all of our boxes, but also just kind of passively farm a lot of iron for us, which you just need so much of that as you build out a base. As promised, we are dramatically expanding our storage facilities here. So we've put down another massive living compartment. The base is getting thick, my friends. So now we can run all the way down this line and all the way down this line. Of course, we can put stuff in the middle if we want to, but I kind of like avoiding that until I absolutely have to. So I'm going to dump some of these quartz pieces and some of this miscellaneous stuff just in here for now, because I really need to collect as much iron as possible. We know that 6 fit on one side, which means I need 18 iron per side, which means I need 36 iron. So I really need to go start collecting. All right, we're looking pretty good. So I've got iron, titanium, cobalt, silicon, magnesium, and aluminum in easily accessible, sort of right when you walk in like this. Then as you run down, you've got uranium and rods, iridium and rods, super alloy and osmium. On this side, it's gonna be all the quartz. So we just picked up that pulsar and that magnetar quartz. And then over here, I still have my miscellaneous container, but I also have plants, sulfur, and fabric. And then over here, I've created another storage container to just dump all of our food. Remember, if you don't start dumping this food, you're gonna be really, really annoyed. Now, I do have to do a couple more things because we are slowly producing algae. Wow, look at that. It really doesn't want to give me iron, even with 3 of these. It's crazy. So we are producing algae. We are going to want to move this at some point in time, but let's go ahead and see if we have any collected. You really want to be stockpiling algae. Amazing. I've got a little bit here. So I'm going to create another storage container for algae, and we'll pretty much be good to go. And then we can troubleshoot what we need to do to actually progress further. Because so far in this episode, we've just been building a bunch of storage and optimization options to make our playthrough just a little bit easier. So we'll dump all the algae in there, and let's go see what we want to unlock next. So I would feel really good, and we're close to it, if I can get this tier 2 biodome, which means I need to boost my heat just a touch. And the best way to do that right now, at least, is probably just to build more heaters. I only have 2 plus a couple chunks hanging around the map. So we're gonna grab some materials for this. All right, let's spam a couple of these guys down. We're gonna block our area just for a second, but that's okay. So that's gonna get us closer to that heat generation. We're actually quite close already, but we'll get there in just a little bit. We did just unlock the tier 2 algae generator, which immediately that's going to be huge for us. So I'm gonna go deconstruct the tier 1. We just don't need it anymore. But what we're gonna need now are these things called bioplastic nuggets. You can see them up in the top left-hand corner. This is why I always say throughout the course of this whole playthrough, just collect anything that looks weird. You never know when you're gonna need it, because let's go ahead and take a look at what it takes to make a bioplastic nugget. It's not gonna be pretty, I'll tell you that much. To get a bioplastic nugget, I need to grow 2 mushrooms and have silicon and a water bottle. Do I even have mushrooms growing right now? No, I do not. But because I saved everything, I've got a couple bioplastic nuggets going right now. I actually have 4 of them. So what I'm gonna need to do is make some fertilizer now. That's why I said save the eggplants and save the algae, right? Let's make our fertilizer. Let's grab 1 super alloy. So let's get this in the ground right there. And it's going to start growing a lot quicker than the last one. But while we were doing that, we also unlocked the tier 2 biodome. So this right here is going to generate a new resource for us, tree bark. And the reason why, first of all, take a look at this. Look how much oxygen it's going to generate. 1,450 per second compared to 135 per second for the tier 1 biodome. Now don't delete the tier 1. We're going to keep that one right there. But what we're going to do is get a little bit funky with it. I think we want the tier 2 kind of coming out this way. We just can't really build it yet because we need something called a bacteria sample. And to get a bacteria sample, of course, what are we going to need? 3 algae per 1 sample. We need 2 samples, so we need 6 algae and a fertilizer and a sulfur. Actually, 2 fertilizer. So this is where you gotta get your production going. So I'm gonna go clean up in Sulphur Hills real quick. All right, we're back with a good amount of sulfur, but the one thing that is annoying me a little bit is I have to walk all the way around the base to get in. I'm typically coming in from that other side. So we are going to throw in a door right behind these heaters, which of course you can't use that, but pretty soon you'll be able to. So I'll get in over there. We've got a good amount of sulfur now. We should not be really anywhere closer, unfortunately, to getting that algae because it's still growing. But let's see what we need to create our fertilizer. Yeah, we're gonna need 3 algae per fert, and we're gonna need 3 algae per bacteria sample, which means for that tier 2 biodome, we need 12 algae. I believe we only have 2 right now. So we might even want another algae collector down here. And I've got the bioplastic nuggets for it. We're already at about 51% on the algae production here. And look how much more there is. So getting a couple tier 2s down and you will not want for algae. It's just that almost every recipe that requires it requires 3 of it, which is an absolute boatload. All right, we need to start growing mushrooms because without them, we are going to be in a world of hurt later on. They are required to make those bioplastic nuggets. So we'll get 2 of those going. I mean, bare minimum is 2, but eventually I want to have an entire room dedicated to just growing the food that I need. All right, while we are waiting, we are going to show you how to crash into a wall. No, we are going to show you a bit of story element in this game, and there is a story. It's not super in-depth, it's not super crazy, but it is there, and you do sort of have to play it to complete at least all the achievements in the game if you want to. I have completed all achievements in this game at some point in time. It's been a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to come through Aluminum Hills here, and we are going to make our way through the spiky zone over this way. We're going to go into that zeolite area that we found a bit earlier. There's some interesting stuff over here. There is some sort of open, just like pulsar quartz hanging around. So feel free to grab that. So right now we are collecting as many of these more rare resources as we can while we make our way to this little zone right here. So you'll kind of come across that valley and you'll see this mushroom cave, which honestly gives a bit of a Subnautica vibe to it, if I do say so myself. Maybe a little bit of inspo taken here, but you'll see all these purple pools and you'll want to kind of come on down and do some exploring here with your jetpack. There's nothing too crazy in the way of resources, but there is a little special treat somewhere around here on these little hills here. If you explore enough, you will find this little section with kind of some broken down pieces of wood and a little bridge, and you'll find what's called the warden's altar. And there'll be something called a warden's key, and you'll need to grab that and come on over this way. What you'll see is this kind of broken down water wheel. You'll see another altar, and you can put the key on that altar and you will open up this crazy door. So as soon as you walk in here, you'll notice, uh-oh, can't use your jetpack anymore. Interesting, right? And there's all these pillars all over the place. You can run around and we get some tablets. So let's read this message here. We were struck by the resemblance at first. We were almost exactly the same. Our scientists told us it was because our celestial bodies were identical in every way. So our evolution, while independent, was very similar. It was like meeting a cousin you never knew you had. They even called us brothers. When they started to land on Treha, a few spaceships turned into dozens, and slowly our worries grew. Our main differences were hidden deep inside. Biologically, we were identical, but our minds had been shaped differently, by fate or by nature. The fact is that when we realized it, it was already too late. A warden. Over here, after all those years, all the suffering, we decided to leave our home soil, to go as far away as possible and build a new home. Far from the terror, far from the strife, far from them. To stay hidden and live our lives as we had for centuries. We carefully chose somewhere we could be safe, gather the last of our kind in our biggest vessel, and on a fateful night, we left, fleeing their never-ending insatiability more than themselves. So a little bit of lore drop on us right there. And as we go this way, we find we can kind of keep running down this way as a meteor is just destroying the exterior right now. And what do we see over here? Kind of interesting, right? Huge, massive ship. We can't jetpack over there. We can't really do anything. So that's kind of all we can do right now, but it's pretty neat. You get the first hint of life on this planet. The wardens, who are they? What are they going to do? Are they here still? Are they gonna do something to you? We'll find out. Let's get on back. Oh, there's another tablet here. I'm not gonna read it because I'm gonna run out of breath, but don't forget about that tablet. All right, and look at that. Just in time for a massive haul of algae. That's why the tier 2 is so valuable. You get like, well, let's count once we're finished collecting here. Yeah, you get 15 per, which is massive. We needed 12, so we're in a really good spot now. All right, so let's go ahead and get our biodome going here. So first thing we're gonna need are bacteria samples. Those are pretty easy. That's just 3 algae, 3 water. So that's done. Absolutely beautiful. So let's get this biodome in. I'm gonna try to put it on top of our base and see if that looks attractive at all. I have a feeling it's not going to look that good. Can we? We can't. That doesn't look that bad. We'll just have to move our launch platform, but I don't mind this. Kind of a dual vibe going on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's attractive. We're gonna move the solar panels too. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something to that I kind of like. Okay, so we're gonna move the launch platform because it's just a little clunky to be right here. I'll just put that right there for now. Eventually, we are going to build out all the under platforms here, so don't worry about that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the fruits of our labor. We're gonna need to move our food growers. It's gonna be nice to have the Biolab and the Biodome version 2 kind of right next to one another, because we're gonna get tree bark, which we will eventually need to be using in this area. So I'm actually gonna line the back with all of our food growers here. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Look at that, guys. We've got 2 of each. So 2 mushroom, we've got 2 eggplant, 2 bean, and 2 squash. For now, that looks highly attractive to me. We have our biodome version 2, and we are pretty close to unlocking that tier 4 drill, which is gonna blast through our pressure. We're gonna get some pretty awesome items right there. But in the next episode, we're gonna really have to focus on this. We have not really touched our biomass so far. But thank you for watching. This has been The Green Hand. I will see you on the next episode of The Planet Crafter. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace out.